Okay, ever find like a dusty book on your shelf and think,
Should I give this another shot?
that's me with Who Moved My Cheese?
It's been years since I last, cracked it open.
But something tells me this deep dive is exactly what we both need.
It's one of those books people either love or love to hate, isn't it?
But there's a reason it sold millions of copies.
It taps into something very primal.
Our fear of change and our deep desire for security and happiness.
You know, it's funny you say that.
Because I actually dug out this book because I'm like thinking about a career change.
And I keep hitting these mental roadblocks.
So maybe this deep dive will help us both navigate those twists and turns.
Absolutely.
And what better way to explore those feelings than through a quirky little story about cheese-obsessed mice and...
Well, tiny humans.
Right.
So we've got Scurry and Sniff,
Our little mouse adventurers.
who seem to have this whole change thing figured out.
They're all instinct.
Always on the hunt for that next cheddar chunk.
They're like the embodiment of go with the flow.
And then we have Hem and Haw,
Who are, well,
a little more relatable to us humans.
they overthink, they get attached to routines,
And boy, do they resist change.
which is hilarious because they literally live in a maze.
You'd think they'd be used to things shifting around.
But I guess that's the point, isn't it?
It's easy to get comfortable even in a crazy place like a maze.
Exactly.
And that's where the whole cheese metaphor comes in.
It represents whatever we're chasing in life.
That dream job, that perfect relationship.
That sense of security.
We find our cheese station, and suddenly we're building our whole world around it.
Oh, I feel that.
It's like that cozy feeling you get when you finally find the perfect spot on the couch.
Perfect lighting, perfect pillow arrangement.
You never want to move.
But then life decides to play musical chairs.
And suddenly your perfect spot is gone.
That's the moment when the cheese disappears in the story.
And our characters are forced to confront change head on.
And this is where their true colors really shine through, right?
Scurry and Sniff are like...
Okay, no cheese here. Let's go find more.
Meanwhile, Hem and Haw are busy freaking out.
They're like, who ate our cheese?
This isn't fair.
I mean, I get it. Change can be scary, but
Come on, guys. It's cheese.
not the meaning of life.
And that's precisely the kind of overthinking the book pokes fun at.
Him and Haw get so caught up in blaming the world, wishing things were different.
That they completely miss the point.
The cheese is gone.
Time to move on.
It's like that moment you realize your favorite coffee shop closed down.
You can either stand there lamenting the loss of your perfect latte, or you can find a new coffee shop.
Maybe even one that serves avocado toast with a side of existential poetry.
You just never know.
Okay, but seriously.
It's easy to say move on when it's a fictional story about cheese.
What about when it's like a big life-changing event?
Like, say, considering a new career path.
Which might be on my mind right now.
That's where those little nuggets of wisdom scribbled on the maze walls come in handy.
Remember that one.
If you do not change, you can become extinct.
It's a stark reminder that clinging to what's comfortable can sometimes be the riskiest move of all.
Whoa, that's a bit intense.
But you're right.
I mean, imagine if I just kept plugging away at a job that wasn't fulfilling.
Scared to even explore new options.
I'd be miserable.
And probably miss out on some amazing opportunities.
Exactly.
And the book encourages us to not just accept change.
Yes, but to actively seek it out.
There's that quote.
Smell the cheese off it. So you know when it is getting old.
It's like a little nudge to stay curious.
To keep our senses sharp.
And notice when things are getting stale.
So instead of waiting for our cheese to disappear,
Whether it's a job, a relationship,
or even just an outdated belief system,
we can be proactive about sniffing out when it's time for something new.
I like it.
It's about being the author of your own cheese journey.
Not just a passive character waiting for life to happen,
Okay, but what about those times when change is thrust upon us?
whether we're ready or not,
Like, let's say I finally muster up the courage to quit my job.
and dive into the unknown.
Then what?
Well, that's where another powerful quote comes in.
Movement in a new direction helps you find new cheese.
Sometimes we need to take that leap of faith.
Even if we don't know exactly where we'll land.
It's about trusting that there's more cheese out there.
Even if we can't see it yet.
And being open to the possibility that the new cheese might be even tastier than the old one.
Precisely.
And this is where the power of visualization comes in.
The book encourages us to imagine ourselves enjoying that new cheese.
To really picture what success looks and feels like.
So it's not just about blindly running around the maze of life.
Hoping we bump into something good.
It's about having a vision, a direction.
A mental map of where we want to go.
Exactly.
And allowing ourselves to be surprised and delighted by what we discover along the way.
I mean, who knows?
Maybe that dream career path leads to even more fulfilling cheese than you could have ever imagined.
This is starting to sound less like a cheesy self-help book.
And more like an adventure story.
But what about the fear?
The uncertainty that bubbles up when we think about making a big change.
How do we deal with that?
You know, it's funny you mentioned fear.
One of the most relatable parts of the book
Is how Hem and Haw grapple with that very thing.
they let fear paralyze them,
Keep him stuck in that cheeseless station.
reminiscing about the good old days.
Which is ironic because by clinging to the past,
They're actually making things worse for themselves.
they're missing out on the possibility of finding something even better.
It's like that quote from the book.
What would you do if you weren't afraid?
Like a powerful question that challenges us to examine.
Whether our fears are rational or simply roadblocks on the path to growth.
Okay, that's giving me chills.
I know for myself.
Fear has definitely held me back at times.
But this idea that we can choose courage over comfort.
That's pretty empowering.
And remember,
Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear.
it means taking action even when we're afraid.
Just like old Scurry and Sniff.
Those fearless, cheese-seeking champions.
You know, I'm starting to see why this book has resonated with so many people.
It's not just about finding cheese.
It's about finding ourselves in the process.
About realizing we're capable of more than we sometimes give ourselves credit for.
Exactly.
It's about embracing the unknown, trusting our instincts.
And being open to the possibility that change
Even when it's unexpected or uncomfortable.
can lead us to some pretty amazing places.
So what does this all mean for you, dear listener?
As we wrap up this deep dive into Who Moved My Cheese,
We'd love for you to ponder this.
what's the cheese in your life right now?
That thing you're chasing, that goal you're working towards?
That dream you're holding on to?
And more importantly,
Are you clinging to old cheese that's no longer serving you?
or are you ready to embrace the adventure of finding something new?
Something even more delicious.
The choice, my friend, is yours.
That's it for this cheesy, insightful, and hopefully inspiring deep dive.
We'll see you next time, ready to explore another thought-provoking book or idea.
Until then, happy cheese hunting, everyone.